We are a carbon accounting software. Basically, we help measure, reduce, and offset carbon footprint. Once customers sign on with us and try our product, benefit from our service, we have a very high retention rate. We do that because we have a good product. It's a weird time politically in the United States. Climate, for some reason, is considered woke. The cat is out of the bag on this climate thing. Millennials and Gen Z, even conservative, won't really care about climate change. Businesses, regardless of what the political situation might otherwise dictate, feel like they need to do this. The wave is coming, and you can either ride the wave or get washed away by it.
Thank you so much for joining.
Absolutely.
Where are you calling from?
I'm in Colorado. Where are you?
Oh, nice. Colorado. I really want to go to Colorado for skiing this winter.
Yeah, it's fantastic here.
I've been to Aspen, but I feel like I didn't get the full experience there.
Yeah, why not?
I don't know. It feels like Aspen is different from everything else in Colorado.
Aspen is definitely a little fancier. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's very fancy, but it was cool. We did some hikes, like some trekking, and yeah. Well, I'm calling from San Francisco
Okay.
in California. I've been here since 2018. I'm originally from Sweden.
Okay.
Cool. So, again, great to meet you. Before we dig in, I'll give you a little bit of context.
Sure. That'd
I'm
be
the
great.
founder of Imperial Arts, and we mainly partner with B2B SaaS companies to help increase revenue and profitability, mainly by acquiring new clients. So we do a lot of lead generation. So that is why we're here today. We're interviewing leaders in this space. Before you, it was Mercedes-Benz and Cisco, and now you as well, mainly to gain deeper insights into the market and provide some value back to you in the form of this podcast. It usually takes like 30 to 40 minutes. Does that sound good to you?
That sounds great.
Awesome. So why don't we start with your business? Can you provide a little bit more information, some insights into your business and the role you play within it?
Absolutely. So Acclimate, my company is called Acclimate. It's Aclymate. We are a carbon accounting software company for small to medium businesses. So basically, we help those businesses measure, reduce, and offset their carbon footprint. That's a pretty complicated thing. A lot of businesses don't feel up to the task. Most businesses, I would say, don't feel up to the task. They don't feel like they have the in-house expertise or the time or the budget. And so our software takes the data that they already have about themselves, things like financial and operational data, and we convert that into emissions, compile that into reports, and then help them identify areas for reductions, put together a reduction plan, and then purchase offsets. So it's sort of
Wow,
a comprehensive
that
solution for all of your climate needs.
that's such an interesting take on accounting. How does your clients find you, and what makes them choose you?
We have a couple different things that differentiate. So there's a lot of companies in this space. Climate is a booming space. Certainly, we're not the only carbon accounting tool that's out there. A couple things that differentiates us. We are really specifically designed for small to medium businesses. And by that, we mean for businesses that don't have an in-house sustainability team. So there are bigger companies usually have in-house sustainability experts who need specialized tools made for experts, and that's not Acclimate. We've intentionally designed our tool for non-experts, people who are just regular business owners, but know that they need to address their carbon footprint and feel lost or confused or unable to do so. So that's one of the really cool parts of Acclimate, is it's designed specifically with those people in mind. Our pricing is very competitive with all of our competitors. We are usually the cheapest option, but that doesn't mean we're compromising on quality. It just means that we're trying to make it more accessible to businesses who need to do this. We don't want price to be an obstacle to not take care of the planet. And then we also provide a really strong sort of human element. So, for customers that want, we provide an added layer of service where we'll do a lot of the accounting for them, and we'll be like their carbon bookkeeper and prepare the report for them so that they don't have to.
That's amazing. I mean, it looks like you're really focusing and honing in on creating a good user experience, making sure that anybody can use the system. I'm assuming quick onboarding and yeah, ease of use. That's amazing to hear because I know how complicated a lot of these economy and finance systems can get.
That's right. Yes. So we obsess about the user experience. It's not easy. Carbon accounting is complicated, so we spend a lot of time constantly tweaking the onboarding, tweaking the user experience. Exactly, because this is made for non-experts, it needs to be as easy as possible for it to, get the adoption that we're looking for. So,
Can you in a very quick, let's say a very short paragraph, explain what carbon accounting is for those who don't know?
absolutely. So, carbon accounting basically it's like regular accounting, except instead of adding up dollars and cents, you're adding up carbon footprint. So carbon emissions and then carbon offsets. So we like to think of it as like the atmosphere is your bank account. And so when you emit, you are like, taking money out of your bank account. You have a negative balance because you are emitting. And then the way that you rectify that balance, that you address the situation is by offsetting. So calculating what that debit to the atmosphere is the process of carbon accounting. So we look at the full suite of data that companies have, things like employee commuting, things like home office and office utility usage, but then also like all of the transactions data, everything that they buy. We can assign an emissions score to all of those expenses or activities. And then we track that on a monthly basis in an accounting style ledger with charts and graphs and all of that. And then that way we can compile reports that say, here is what your carbon footprint was for, this time period. Would you like to offset it? So.
Amazing. Wow. It's such a cool niche. I never even thought that that was a thing. So I'm so glad that to have somebody on that's an expert here.
Well,
I would
awesome.
love
Yeah,
to
thank
hear.
you. Yeah.
Yeah, great. I'm curious what the current trends in the market are that you're aware of. Where are the winds blowing? What are you noticing?
Yeah, absolutely. So, it's a weird time politically in the United States. Climate, for some reason, is considered woke. Certainly we have seen more headwinds this year than we had last year, since the last election. But unfortunately, for people like Trump, fortunately for us, I think the cat is out of the bag on this climate thing. Millennials and Gen Z, even conservative ones, really care about climate change. They have rising purchasing power in this world, and that's only going to increase. And so businesses, regardless of what the political situation might otherwise dictate, still feel like they need to do this. Now, they might not feel quite as much urgency, but places like Europe and Canada are still leading the charge on climate change, and any business that wants to be able to operate in those places will still need to do this. So a lot of our customers are smaller companies that might not have operations in places like Canada or Europe, but their customers do, right? So, like, we have a company that's in the supply chain of a large multinational corporation, and that multinational corporation has these climate obligations, and therefore they are forcing everyone in their supply chain to do this. And that's where we come in to help them figure out how to do that, to be able to keep that contract.
I'm sure there's an incentive to for companies to actually track these things too, right?
I mean, it depends on what you mean by incentive. So I could tell you all sorts of stats about how, it boosts customers' confidence and it helps you stand out in the market. But they're actually in the United States, um, there are not really any legal obligations to do this. That's certainly one of the challenges that we face. If there was, I think we would probably be growing a lot more quickly. Um, but for now, there's no like government regulation that says that companies have to do something like this. In the United States, in Europe, there is. In Canada, they're starting to be. In
Yeah,
places
perhaps
more.
there could be some certifications that companies can get and boast on their websites with like like badges. I know a lot of other industries do that. Maybe
Yeah,
there are other ways.
we have our own badging system that we've come up with. I think everyone sort of has them, but there's still no like industry standard way of doing this.
Interesting.
There's a lot of different. It's a very fractured, nascent space with a lot of people competing to become the dominant certification or the dominant badging system or whatever. There are some standards, but there is no like single uniform standard.
Yeah, so you mentioned the political climate, no pun intended, and as well the communication out to getting it out to people like millennials. What is happening in the market that's making the landscape more challenging or easier to operate in?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, more and more like millennials and Gen Z employees and consumers are demanding this from the companies that they interact with. So either as an employer or as a consumer. Um, so like for example, for companies, we have several customers where they don't necessarily have any regulatory or supply chain pressure that's forcing them to do this, but they have a motivated group of employees internal to their company that's saying like, hey, we have to do this. Or they're seeing that the best way to attract and retain talent is by being able to make sure that their corporate values align with the values of their employees. Same thing with customers. Customers are increasingly making their buying decisions based on the climate impact of the products and services that they consume. And so companies need to be able to show that they are addressing that need if they want to be able to attract those kinds of customers.
I see. And how are these current pain points affecting your sales?
I mean, that's a lot of where our sales come from. Our biggest challenge is a lot of companies know that they need to do this, but they're not necessarily feeling the urgency about it that they do about other things, such as inflation or economic pressure or any of that. So we do get a lot of people being like, yeah, this is really great. We're really excited to do this. We'll do it next year. Um, and so getting companies to feel that urgency is certainly one of our challenges.
I see. When you look at the next 6 to 12 months in your business or career, where do you see the biggest opportunities for growth that you're really excited about? And where do you see the biggest gaps that need to be fixed?
Yeah. So we have identified an opportunity for us in the promotional product space, actually. So the promotional product space is huge, and they have a large carbon footprint because they are constantly shipping things all over the place, and that shipping has a real climate impact. So we have been selected as a preferred vendor by the Promotional Products Industry Association as their like preferred carbon accounting solution. And so in the next 6 to 12 months, we see a lot of our growth coming from that space. We want to target that space very heavily. We have some great relationships in that space that we want to be able to leverage. Um, so if there's any promo companies out there that are listening to this, we are working on my job. I'm the CTO, so I'm in charge of product and engineering and all that. And we're trying to really add some great features that'll help Acclimate be really well suited to the needs of these promo companies. So that's been a great opportunity for us. We see that as continuing to be a great opportunity for us. But a big part of what we're working on right now is identifying other channels that we can use. Other industries where we can sort of establish a beachhead in that industry as well. So those are sort of the two main areas of focus that we're going to be working on in the next 6 to 12 months.
Yeah, that's amazing that you have become the preferred go-to supplier for that industry. I mean, I completely understand targeting those companies for that. You mentioned as well you want to open up some new channels. What are your primary channels for reaching out to, for example, an industry like this? Are you mostly relying on inbound and word of mouth, or do you have any other channels that you're utilizing?
Yeah, I mean, so we're a very small company with a very small budget. Um, so we are definitely limited in our ability to do outbound. So we're starting to get creative. I mean, this promotional products thing, yeah, right now, that's a big source of a lot of our growth. And so, it's through tapping into that network, through the connections that we have in that space, doing things like webinars and going to conferences and all of that. We are running ads. We are doing a lot of the, SEO, traditional digital marketing things, and that is working for us as well, albeit a little more slowly than just like the promo industry. But that's certainly something, as we grow and get more budget that we want to be able to invest in more is that digital component as well.
Fantastic. So how easy is it to attract and retain high quality clients in this in this day and age?
Those are two different questions. Attracting them is hard, right? It is a competitive space, certainly. And awareness about carbon accounting in general is still very low. A lot of people just don't know that this is a thing, don't know that this is a thing that they need, don't feel like they understand it, don't feel like they're qualified to understand it. So, that is probably the hardest part is breaking through and helping people understand the need for this. Our retention is very good. So once customers sign on with us and try our product and benefit from our service, we have a very high retention rate. And we do that because we have a good product and really good support to back it up. Um, but yeah, certainly breaking through the noise and making sure that people even understand what carbon accounting is can be a challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely understand that. And yeah, you mentioned the communication aspect and getting your story out there properly. How important is it for you to build more strategic visibility right now? So whether that's branding or company positioning or just getting your story out more clearly to ideal clients, is that something you're looking into?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely, definitely. So I'm lucky. So like I said, I'm the product engineering guy. I spend most of my day coding, but my co-founder is a nationally recognized expert in climate change, policy, carbon, all that stuff. So, a lot of our messaging strategy is based around, getting him out there, doing things like talking at conferences, webinars, writing papers, all that, trying to, let people know that this is a thing, this is an issue that companies are going to need to address, get ahead of the game and address these problems before they actually become problems. So a lot of that comes from him and sort of from the personal brand that we're trying to build for him. Um, yeah.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. Yeah, and having said that, I would love to pivot the conversation more into your business development area. So, let's say in your recent experience, would you say your business development and client acquisition processes are where you want them to be, or are there still parts that feel slower or heavier than they should?
Yeah, no, it's definitely we're still working on improving in that area. Absolutely. So we're currently in the process of trying to hire a sales business development representative type person to help us accelerate that. Um, yeah, we do definitely hope to see a big improvement in a lot of that over the next 6 to 12 months,
Cool.
starting with that person.
That perfectly leads me into the follow-up when it comes to, when it comes to building or scaling teams to drive growth. Do you prefer doing most things yourself, or are you more focused on finding the right partners and systems to take things off your plate?
I mean ourselves, you mean like internally through like paid staff versus like agencies? I would,
I mean personally.
oh, personally, no, I mean, look, there's only 24 hours in a day. Um, so no, we very much are in favor of hiring the right team and then delegating, trusting, empowering them to do their jobs. I'm not a salesperson. So I know what my limitations are. Same thing with my co-founder, same thing with all of us. So we like being able to build the right team, and then run a small, lean, efficient team, to get the job done. We are very proud of the fact that, our core team has been together now for over 2 years. So, we are like, once we find the right person, we tend to be able to keep them, and they want to stay. And so we're really lucky in that regard. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Let's say if you could solve the sales pain point that you have today, um, what implications would that solve, and what prosperity would that give you?
I mean, and then we're riding that rocket ship to the moon, right? No, I mean that would enable, hopefully, unlocking more growth, and being able to, serve more customers and grow as a company.
Cool. And I'm curious also, what metrics are most important to you? Whether it is new clients or the pipeline growth or new functionality in the product, what's kind of screaming at you right now?
I mean, yeah, the ones we track a bunch of different things. Retention is a big one. And we spend a lot of time focused on retention. Um, sort of like net new customers per month. Uh, and then annual contract value. Obviously, if we have, larger companies that we're able to bring on board, then, we need fewer companies to help us get there. So
Makes
basic.
sense. Make total sense. Um, one thing we really love about the leaders that we interview is that they're usually really open to new ways of solving old problems. How do you personally approach finding new strategies or partners to help drive growth in your business?
Yeah, I mean, I think, uh, I'm a self-taught founder, entrepreneur, coder, etc. So is my co-founder. So neither of us, assumes that we are experts in our space. And pretty much a lot of the things we do. I mean, I think I'm an expert in building software. I think he's an expert in climate change, carbon, all that stuff. But in things like sales, business development, a lot of the other things that come with being, with running a business, like, we are just doing the best we can. And so I think, to answer your question, part of the challenge, part of how we do that is we are humble enough to admit that we don't know everything, and that we are willing to take advice, uh, solicit and receive advice from people who may know more about this than we do. Um, I think a lot of founders get stuck in thinking that they are the smartest person in the room and that they have all the answers. And, like, certainly that's not the case for us.
Yeah, that totally makes sense, and it's a great insight. We hear it all the time. Some people get stuck where they are and refuse to listen, but it's great to hear that there are founders out there that are still are curious and want to learn more.
Yeah, I think when you
Um,
stop learning is when you stop growing, both as a person and then as a company. So, we have an always, learning first mindset.
yes, absolutely. And with that being said, I do always like to ask as a last question if there's anything you'd like to share that I didn't ask.
Um, no, I think you pretty much covered it. I would just reiterate the fact that, like, every company should be doing this, and that at some point in the future, every company probably will need to do this. So it's best to, our recommendation, and certainly we're biased, is that you should do it now and get ahead of your competitors who will, regret not doing it sooner. The wave is coming, at some point. and you can either like ride the wave or get washed away by it. And so um, climate change is happening, whether or not we want to think about that or whether or not we admit it. And I think smart companies are going to realize that like they can be a part of the solution, and we'll want to get on board with that. And like that's what we're here for. So
And to do that, you go to acclimate.com
that's
and
right.
talk to William to onboard you real quickly.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yes. ACLYMATE.com is definitely the best way to get a hold of us. We're also on LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, all the places. We have a really friendly onboarding team who can get you going and get you fully set up. And yeah,
that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, that was so great. Thank you so much for sharing all those insights, William.
thank you. You too.